here's the truth. No one ever puts on their dreamy Pinterest board. And the truth is, if you want to travel long term, you either have money or you have to make money. And of course, there are some exceptions among us. I mean, some were probably lucky and were born in the my parents support everything and pay for everything bubble. But the rest of us have to face the truth. We have to work at some point eventually. And I love it when people are saying, yeah, well, just travel and figure it out in a way. I mean, short-term travel, easy. But for long-term travel, I mean, cute idea, but with what should I support myself? With air and kindness? Yeah, that's not working. You need money. And here I want to say, actually very clear, working while traveling can be amazing. But only if you remember one thing. And for me, it's the most important thing ever in general, that the job is not your life. Point. That's it. The job is your sponsor. So you're not building a cage. Like at home, when I was working full-time in Germany, I'd said, yeah, I work full-time and I build a stable job, a stable income, I have a stable flat, and it's more like, building a cage. Like, it's harder to leave because the convenience gets too high and the comfort. So, I always keep reminding myself when I work abroad, I just do it to buy adventures, travel time, plane tickets, whatever supports my travels. And, of course, you meet cool people and you might have a cool job and you might experience great stuff when you have your day off. But the truth is as well that when you start working abroad, it's not that easy as well. Like, of course, you can be lucky, but I personally think job hunting can be really tough. And here, today, right now, I want to actually do two things. So, first of all, I'm going to tell you 3 ways how people actually support their long-term travels. And secondly, I want to give you the rules that stop working from swallowing the whole reason you started traveling in the first place. Because I always say the freedom you experience while traveling, it's just amazing. And if you haven't traveled by yourself and lived abroad and did long-term travels, you will not understand what I'm talking about. So go out there and start. But anyways, so there are a few options, and my personal favorite actually to support or to fund my long-term travels is actually volunteer work for accommodation and food. So there are different platforms and a lot of offers, and you can choose. Like, I did different kinds of jobs like hospitality or farm work in different countries, and I'd say also like the longest period I have experienced was in New Zealand. And there I have to say it was great. So I usually work something around 4 to 6 hours a day. I got 3 meals a day and I got the accommodation. And if you ever been to New Zealand, you know this is really these 2 things are the most expensive things. So you work half a day and the rest of the day you're just free. You can explore. It's really nice. It's actually a win-win, and usually you're surrounded with nice people. So yeah, I can really recommend that. I mean, of course, only downside, you do not earn money, but you also don't spend money. So it's like, probably it stays below 0. So you don't make minus, but you also don't make any profit. So good choice, I'd say. Then secondly, if you are lucky enough and you find an online remote job, then congratulations. This is literally the best. Like, when you can travel and you will have always work, oh man, that's so good. But I have to admit, for me, it took ages to find a job, and I only had it for a short time too. And the downside there was, like, I actually made good money, and I always had the mindset that, you know what? You can treat yourself now. And I spent way more money than I wanted to, but yeah, you need to treat yourself, right? But the thing, what I really did not like about the job, it was so fucking boring. Like, sometimes I really felt like I want to take my laptop and just throw it out the window because I felt numb. Like, it was so soul numbing. Like, you're sitting on a desk, you're in a new country, and you just feel like, why am I sitting here watching a screen, and feel like drained, literally. But yeah, good money, that's all, but hey, you need to find a balance, right? What is more important? Obviously, long-term travels. And then option number 3, and this is probably the easiest if you have the visa, and the visa is always the hardest. So again, if you're young enough, you can do work and travel in different countries, not every country, but that's easy. But as soon as you cannot have a work and holiday visa, it's getting a little bit more tricky because you need a visa sponsor, and it's a lot of bureaucracy, and yeah, a lot of companies would probably also think like, yeah, why should we go through all this stuff if we could just use another worker? As harsh as it sounds. But yeah, if you have the opportunity, you can go to bars, cafes, restaurants, hospitality, hotels, seasonal work. So the doors are open, many opportunities. And I would say these kind of works are also the easiest to access for most people. But on the other side, if you do it wrong, it's also the easiest way to destroy your energy. And that is because the work is often very exhausting, underpaid, understaffed, and yeah, you have a high stress level. Not for everything, but hospitality in general, I'd say, difficult. Which brings me to Japan. I mean, in Japan, I worked for multiple mini jobs. And they always had one thing in common. They were underpaid, and yeah, the company was also understaffed. But yeah, this combination is just very real. And you do the work for 2 people, and once you make a small little mistake, someone acts like you committed a felony. I don't know. Another story, but it's easy to get, but hard to survive, I'd say. Of course, not every job, not every country, but I'm just talking a little bit right now about Japan because I'm currently in Japan. So, yeah. But yeah, what would I say? Like, I personally think working while traveling is not always cool and super fun, but it can be. It can be super fun, and I mean, there's a few things you should just not have high expectations about. So first of all, do not expect when you travel abroad that you will get your dream job. It's very unlikely. You can dream, but yeah, very unlikely. Then, you should not expect that you get paid like super high. Because especially when you work in hospitality, it's often minimum wage. And also keep in mind that your boss probably not really care about your situation, and that you're living the dream, so you need to be a little bit careful. But anyways, most travel jobs, I'd say, are just they're necessary that you can support your travels. And of course, sometimes it's boring, sometimes it's cool, and sometimes it brings just chaos. And you also have to remember, if you're working while traveling, you are not on vacation. You are you still will be tired, you still will be exhausted, you still probably maybe will complain about your job, but the part which matters the most is how to make it work. That you feel like, yes, I did it, it's just for my supporting the troubles. Okay, rule number 1. Stop romanticizing the struggle. I mean, there will be the point that you're exhausted, you question your choice of working abroad, and you see on Instagram a lot of people who are saying like, yeah, everything is so nice, and I learned so much from this work experience, even though I was exploited because underpaid, understuffed, whatever. Just stop romanticizing it. I mean, sometimes it's just part of the experience, like, okay, I do this job to get a little bit of money, but stop romanticizing it. It will be exhausting, it will be draining, but in the end, you do it just with it, like, you have the goal of, like, yeah, I want to maintain long-term travel, so just do it, don't romanticize it. Rule number 2 is pick a work that protects your energy. And that sounds maybe stupid, but you should rather take a job which is maybe a little bit boring and you do the same thing over and over and it's not super inspiring, but that is way better than a job which drains you physically or and mentally, because then you will question your choice even more instead of like you picking just a boring job and doing the same task over and over. But if you're exhausted and you don't, if there is a point where you question yourself why you're even doing this all, then it's time to change. Like, no. Rule number 3, have a buffer. And I mean here money-wise, have always a little bit of savings. Because if you don't, you will become desperate and you will say yes to any job. And then with that, you will lose the ability to say no. And I've been in this situation, unfortunately. So I was short on money and I took a cleaning job. And that sounds maybe okay for you guys, but there's nothing more. Like, I hate cleaning so much. But I was so desperate that I felt like, okay, you know what? Whatever, I just do it. But yeah, have a buffer and keep your ability to say no. So, rule number 4. And this applies especially when you are having a remote job. Travel slower. Because going from one place to another is fun, but it's exhausting. And then when you do in addition also like working, jeez, this is too much. Like, I did that, like, traveling from place to place, like, changing my place every 3 days, and I was exhausted. But I didn't even work within that time. So, I can recommend you choose a base for a specific time, work, go out, rest, and then after 2 or 3 weeks, you can move on. It will protect your energy. You will feel more energetic because you have time to slow down and not packing your bag and being ready or like arrive like on time at a new point that you're ready to work again. So protect your energy. And last but not least, rule number 5. Accept that job hunting is part of the job too. So it always sucks if you get rejected. But especially when you're just traveling, a lot of like companies just know, yeah, you won't be here for a long time, so they will like reject you more often. You get ghosted, or yeah, you are not as flexible anymore. And yeah, job hunting can be chaos, but yeah, I mean, it's the cycle of of getting a job, and yeah, that is all I have for the rules, I'd say. Yeah, I can't think of anything else. But for me, I always keep in mind the most important thing, or the mindset that keeps me insane, is that it's just temporary. Every job I do while I'm abroad is temporary. So I'm not trapped. And you are also not trapped if you do it. You are in a pit stop. Like, just staying there, getting some fuel, change the wheels. And yeah, you're not giving up your great dream of traveling. So it's just like you have routine and like settlement with work related stuff, but it's just temporary for a limited time. And you are funding your dream life. So yeah, you work for a season and you save, you reset, you leave, and yeah, that's the whole point. So I'm not working because I want to become a loyal member of a company. Like, not sorry, that's just not my cup of tea. I'm working because I want to keep moving. I like to clock in so I can clock out of the country again. So, bye-bye, I've worked a little bit, I have enough money, I can see the world again. And with this mindset, everything changes. Because even if the job is boring, and even if it's stressful, you know why you are doing it. It's not forever. It's for financing your dream of long-term travel. And this Saturday, actually, I will talk about my experience working at Sushiro, the Japanese restaurant, because this is an example of what happens when a job starts eating your energy, and how fast funding travels turns into, why the heck am I here? Why I am doing this? So yeah, stay tuned. So listen to it on Saturday. And what I want you to take away from this episode is actually, working while traveling is not a vibe. It is just a strategy. And if you treat it like a temporary tool, not a lifelong sentence to do the same bullshit every day, it can even feel empowering instead of suffocating. So just go with the mindset it's temporary to support your dream, and every boring job will turn into something nice because you're doing it for yourself. So yeah, thanks for listening and see you next Saturday.